If the dollar loses reserve status, gold could surpass $39,000. And it says, what if gold replaced the U.S. dollar as a reserve standard? In this paper, our emerging markets bond team values gold by matching central bank money liabilities to gold reserves, implying a $39,000 to $184,000 per ounce price target for gold.
You know, people are talking about $100, $200 silver, $5,000, $10,000 gold. And I always said, be careful what you wish for, because what kind of world are we going to live in under that scenario? The reason you be careful what you wish for is because, as I mentioned, everything is derivatized. You've got massive shorts that were put on for years and years and years to suppress the price. Now those shorts are being broken, and you're going to see dead bodies. And those dead bodies will spread because of counterparty. So again, let me just say again, be careful what you wish for. You know, are you hoping for $200, $500 silver? Are you hoping for $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 gold?
Andy Schectman and Bill Holter are well-known voices in the precious metals space, often discussing monetary risk, currency stability, and the long-term role of gold and silver. If the US dollar were to lose its status as a reserve currency, gold would no longer be priced as a simple commodity, but as a replacement monetary anchor. In this framework, gold is valued by matching central bank money liabilities against official gold reserves, a method that radically changes price expectations. Using this model, gold could justify prices ranging from near $39,000 per ounce to as high as $184,000 per ounce, depending on how much confidence is lost in fiat currencies. This perspective makes widely discussed targets of $5,000 or even $10,000 gold look modest rather than extreme. The exact monetary logic applies to silver, where price expectations of $100 to $200 per ounce are realistic rather than speculative. These projections are not driven by hype, but by structural debt, currency debasement, and the limits of the current monetary system. If you found this gold and silver market analysis valuable, smash that like button, share it with fellow investors, and subscribe now to stay ahead with the latest precious metals updates and insights.
You're shorting something and the traders are paying a premium to have it right now. To me, and something that was just classified a critical mineral, the only reason you'd be stupid enough to do that is because you have to. And the funny thing about it is that they sent out a report saying we think silver's going to like 45, and they just recently got stopped out at 92. In other words, they had stop losses put in place to get them out if it went the other way, and they lost a good amount. I don't know, a couple $100 million or something. I don't know what they lost, but that's not the point. The point is that they sent out a letter saying they thought it was going the other way. They got stopped out. This was forced buying, and this is how accidents start, because you're stupid as hell to short something naked in a market that is in backwardation. And I think that, you look at what we've seen along the way, how these banks that are somewhat trapped are trying to change things to get the price back down, but they can't do it again. Even when they dump paper in the dead of night, when liquidity is the lowest and the price goes down, we see physical stress going back up. And in other words, every time it goes down, the physical's being bought. December was the largest delivery in the history of the COMEX market for the month of December. Somewhere in the neighborhood of like 68 million ounces of silver were delivered. That's not bearish. Anything to say the least for the people who saying that the top is in. And I think when you talk about all these people, the talking heads that tell you that the top is in, like TD Bank or the Jim Cramers, the part that these people miss is that even as the paper price fell, the lease rates exploded higher. To me, that's the tell. And when it costs more to borrow real silver, the market is screaming, we don't have enough metal. These lease rates are normally 1/4 or 0.5%, not 8 or 9%. When you put backwardation in, that seals the deal to me. That means don't promise me silver next month. I want it right now. And that only happens when trust breaks. And for all of the people out there who are being told that this is the top, this is just like 2011. 2011 was leverage and speculation, right? And you had traders that were speculating with leverage, and when they raised the margins, they all got kneecapped. Here they raise the margin the day after Christmas by 30%, and it doesn't do anything but just a little speed bump as the big money comes in and buys the most, or stands for delivery, the most that's ever been delivered in the history of the COMEX market since 1974. So it's not working. These people don't trade on margin. These big sovereign wealth funds and, governments and Teslas and Samsungs. And today is not about leverage and speculation. That's the speed bump. Today is structural shortages across the world, a declining mine supply 6th year in a row, exploding industrial demand. We see that everywhere, especially with AI and photovoltaic and all the way down through military and everything else that we've covered copiously. But it's the sovereign and the industrial buyers competing for the same metal, where it's now critical, and I think that's something to me where the people who analyze the markets and tell you, like your financial advisor, this isn't a trade, this is infrastructure. And I think you don't permanently top when supply is shrinking and demand is growing. And I think the same thing is true with gold. And again, this is just kind of my overview, because I hear a lot of people saying, am I going to lose now? Should I sell? Should I take some off the table? Central banks don't buy gold because they're emotional, first and foremost. They're not catching the trend. They buy it because it's nobody's liability. Gold didn't overtake the euro because it's shiny. As far as I'm concerned, gold is doing what it's doing by default because there is no replacement for trust, period. And I think that's what it comes down to. And when you see interest costs exceeding defense spending, you can see that the system has chosen its path with it, which is debasing, printing, inflating, whatever the hell you want to call it. But this is why central banks are buying gold. This is why silver is being drained. And this is why the paper promises are BS, and they're starting to show up as such. And now let's just talk about a few other things. Going back to the financial advisors, I hear this a lot lately. You need to sell. They're looking at the charts. They're looking at the ratios. They're looking at the headlines, the ETFs. They don't look at the deliveries. They don't look at the lease rates. They don't look at backwardation. They don't look at who's shipping the metal out and who's buying it in. Where is it going? By the time this system admits stress, the positioning opportunity is already long gone. So I don't know. I just wanted to say that. Let me see, do I have anything else here? TD, I talked about. Oh, there was an interesting report written by Van Eck. Did you see that? Financial advisory. They said if the dollar loses reserve status. Now, what have I been saying? I've been saying it is my belief that they want to soft default on the reserve status. It's what they want to do. They want to no longer be the world reserve currency over time in order to bring back manufacturing. Triffin's dilemma says you cannot do it if you are the world reserve currency. Vice President Vance has written about it, talked about it. Jared Bernstein, the knucklehead from the chief economic advisor from the Biden administration, wrote a report, Dethrone King Dollar. It is very much well known, if you retain world reserve status, you will never have a trade surplus. And I think that's where they're going. We've talked a lot about that. I mean, I've gone over it copiously on many podcasts, but Van Eck comes out and says, if the dollar loses reserve status, gold could surpass $39,000. And it says, what if gold replaced the US dollar as a reserve standard? In this paper, our emerging markets bond team values gold by matching central bank money liabilities to gold reserves, implying a $39,000 to $184,000 per ounce price target for gold. And if they were to divide central bank MO, which is the most immediate form of money in the system, they come up with $39,000. If they use M2, it's $184,000.
The global precious metals market is no longer driven by speculation or sentiment. It is being reshaped by structural stress inside the financial system itself. Years of price suppression through paper shorting are breaking down as physical demand overwhelms synthetic supply. Backwardation, surging lease rates, and record COMEX deliveries signal a market that no longer trusts future promises. Each paper sell-off is met with aggressive physical buying, draining available metal at an accelerating speed. Silver's classification as a critical mineral exposes the urgency behind forced buying and short-covering failures. This is not leverage-driven excess like past cycles, but a collision between sovereign buyers and industrial demand amid declining mine supply. Gold's rise reflects the same truth. Trust is eroding. Central banks are not chasing momentum, they are escaping liability. In an era of monetary debasement, physical metal is asserting itself as infrastructure rather than a trade. Let's get into the interview.
Yeah, you broke up somewhat. I didn't catch the whole question, but yeah, the metals have run big time. But all you have to do is look at a chart. I mean, you could look you could have been a German in 1920 and said, the price of gold and the price of silver is crazy. But what happened 3 years later? And one thing that very few people are talking about, and people used to talk about quite a bit, was derivatives. The problem with the system today is that everything is financialized, everything is derivatized. And I mean, you're talking about over $2 quadrillion worth of derivatives. And all you have to do is get one market that goes offside, and that'll spill over to all markets. And I have posited for at least 10 years that I thought, because silver is the smallest market and the most suppressed, it's my thought that silver is the fuse to the derivative time bomb. I think silver is going to fail to deliver first. That'll spill over to gold the same day or the next day. And within 72 hours, markets will be completely dysfunctional, if they're even open. What we're looking at now is you've got Indians, you've got the Chinese. When they buy, they want the metal. And the problem is you can't print the metal. The metal doesn't exist. The real shortage is in silver. I mean, gold is considered money. Silver is not primarily considered money. The demand for silver comes from so many different industries, and it is cash and carry. I mean, you can't put a paper contract into technology. You can't put a paper contract into a medicinal use. It has to be the real metal. And the problem is they can't print it. And that's where the severe shortage is showing right now. And that's where it's going to break, is in silver, not gold. Gold will follow. And if there was no such thing as silver, gold would ultimately break on its own. But silver is going to be the blasting cap. Well, if gold and silver are unavailable, markets will be closed. And if markets are closed, you're not going to be able to buy miners. You're not going to be able to buy anything. Banks will be closed, et cetera, et cetera. I would say that we are at the point now, and I warned people for many, many years. I always said, be careful what you wish for. People are talking about $100, $200 silver, $5,000, $10,000 gold. And I always said, be careful what you wish for, because what kind of world are we going to live in under that scenario? The reason you be careful what you wish for is because, as I mentioned, everything is derivatized. You've got massive shorts that were put on for years and years and years to suppress the price. Now those shorts are being broken, and you're going to see dead bodies. And those dead bodies will spread because of counterparty. So again, let me just say again, be careful what you wish for. Are you hoping for $200, $500 silver? Are you hoping for $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 gold? Be careful.
The precious metals rally is not just about chart price action. It reflects deep fractures inside a fully financialized global system built on leverage and derivatives. With over $2 quadrillion in paper exposure, it only takes one small, stressed market to ignite a chain reaction. Silver, the most suppressed and smallest market, sits at the center of that risk. Unlike paper contracts, real silver is required for industry, technology, medicine, and energy, and it cannot be printed into existence. Physical shortages are already visible as demand from Asia accelerates and supply continues to shrink. When silver fails to deliver, gold will not be far behind, and broader markets may not function as expected. This is why extreme price targets come with serious consequences. Be careful what you wish for. If this breakdown unfolds, access matters more than price. Enjoyed this update? If this analysis helped you, smash that like, share with other investors, and subscribe for the next big precious metals update.